is number one.
Notre Dame with a miracle win as the clock
Going in. Notre Dame has scored.
As a perfect October Saturday dawned in South Bend, there was little concern about the emotional level of their players as far as Notre Dame coach Lou Holtz and Miami counterpart Dennis Erickson knew. After all, this series had developed into one of the most highly charged in college football in recent years, as the Irish and the Hurricane jousted for national championships. But with Miami dominating the scoreboard in many of the recent confrontations, Holtz had a much more basic concern. Were his Irish good enough to win, especially from a defensive standpoint?
You got to put your defense first, or you're never going to be a real good football team. And Miami, they're averaging 42.3 points per ball game, and we have not even played the way an average defensive football team would be in the country. So you go into a ball game like this, you say, well, Miami, if going up on their basic average, you're going to put 44, 45 points on the board, and there's no way we're going to score that many. So and that's why you have some concern.
Whatever air had been pumped into the Irish balloon by a pumped-up Notre Dame Stadium crowd and a national television audience on CBS promptly fizzled away when Notre Dame fumbled the football to the Canes on the very first play from scrimmage. Miami needed but 6 running plays to take advantage, and the second-ranked visitors had the early lead. The Irish escorted the ball 58 yards on a methodical drive that ended in a Craig Hendrick field goal. Miami then matched those 3 points after intercepting a Rick Meyer pass. The first miscue he'd thrown in 87 tries. Next, it was Raghib Ismail who pumped the life back into the Notre Dame faithful.
Here's the run up and the kick by Huerta. It'll come down and the Rocket will get a shot at it at the 6. Brings it back to the 10, to the 15, at the 20, 25, to the left, at the 30. Look out, it's going to be a foot race. To the 40, to the 50, down the sideline, at the 30, pulling away, at the 20, the 10, 5, touchdown all the way. 94 yards.
The partisan Irish crowd was now back in the game. So too was the Notre Dame defense, as Greg Davis displayed in stepping in front of Randall Hill to pick off a Craig Erickson pass. Ismail displayed his versatility with a 20-yard gain on a reverse. But the Canes held firm again, so Hendrick converted the second of his field goals for a 13-10 advantage. Erickson completed 4 passes for 58 yards on Miami's next offensive chance, and the Canes quarterback snuck the final yard himself for a 17-13 advantage. But the Irish weren't finished yet in the opening half. Meyer zeroed in on Waters for a 23-yard gain, half of a march that concluded with a third Hendrick field goal. And the Irish defense did its part in thwarting Miami's last 2 second-period possessions. As the second half evolved, so did the dominance of the bend-but-not-break Notre Dame defense. All-American Chris Zorich nailed Leonard Conley for a loss on the first play of the third quarter. When the Hurricanes took over again, Scott Kolakowski forced Stephen McGuire to fumble on the initial play, and George Williams recovered. After a 36-yard Hendrick field goal, Miami's offense was halted in its tracks, first by Andre Jones, then by Demetrius Dubose. Meyer carefully moved Notre Dame within striking distance again, scrambling once for 18 yards and nearly connecting with Tony Smith in the end zone. That left it for Hendrick to add his record 5th three-pointer to make it 22-17. Next came what turned out to be Miami's only scoring of the final 30 minutes. Erickson threw the ball 7 times. Then, from a 1st and goal at the 8, the dogged Irish defenders forced 3 straight incompletions. That permitted Carlos Huerta to connect to trim the deficit to 2 points. After a Notre Dame punt, All-American cornerback Todd Light bailed the Irish out by hauling in an errant Erickson toss at his own 8. With a cat-quick Ismail now operating at tailback, the Irish took advantage of a Miami defense that was on the field for more than 21 minutes of the second half. First, he took a pitch down the right sideline for a 16-yard gain. Next, on a reverse, he turned the corner for 28 more. Then, facing an all-out blitz on 3rd and 4, Meyer dropped the ball off to Rodney Culver and he knifed his way into the end zone for the 21-yard scoring play. Trailing 29-20, Miami wasn't finished yet. The Canes swept quickly into Irish territory, but Greg Davis knocked the football away from Conley, and Stonebreaker recovered at the Notre Dame 2, and that's the last Miami would see of the football. Meyer used 9 running plays and a pair of third down conversions to run out the final 4 minutes and 44 seconds on the clock.